Jeffrey's panicking. The teacher's just mentioned the homework that he hasn't even started. She's going around collecting everyone's homework one at a time. Quickly, Jeffrey, you've got 36 seconds. Go, go, go! Adonis. Adonis sees the commotion and decides to help young Jeffrey. He teleports next to young Jeffrey and quickly mentors him on the subject. Jeffrey's figuring out all the answers when the teacher's so close to him and... done. Just in time. But it doesn't have to be this stressful, young Jeffrey. And then, there's you. You've often felt like there's just too much pressure when it comes to school and parents and homework. But you've got this far. Even though it's felt like such a struggle, you've got this far and you should be proud of yourself for that. Let me tell you my story. Just 1 week ago, I was sat down recording videos just like this one for the YouTube channel. 1 video, 2 videos, 3 videos, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 videos recorded before 12 o'clock. I'm wrapping up, I'm plugging the camera into my laptop and transferring over the files, proud of this workday. And I can't help but get a memory of what it was like when I was in school, of how much I used to slack with the schoolwork and the homework, and it always felt like I was AFK, like the teacher would just be at the front of the class, teaching, writing something on the board, and my mind would just be wandering elsewhere. How difficult it always was for me to stay on top of my homework, and how different things are now just because I learned a few productivity hacks. The lesson of this story is that you absolutely can do a complete 180 in your work habits. I am absolute proof of that. I was one of those like bottom tier students inside of high school, and I've become a successful businessman who can really put in the work these days. And it's not about like genetics or luck or any of those things. It's because I just implemented a few productivity tactics that really helped me. It's a shame that school puts so much pressure onto you and they aren't doing enough to be able to help you maintain all of like your workload. If I'm honest, I'm actually quite against school. I really think the education system has messed up a lot of young people, especially guys. You know, males perform worse in every year of the education system, and no one actually like talks about that. No one even talks about it being a problem. A few years ago, everyone was talking about the gender wage gap for women. These days, men are paid less than women. Guys are performing worse in all of education. Guys aren't even going to university these days, and no one's even like caring about it. I really do think that there's like a war on masculinity on at the moment. Let me read you a quote from the Bible. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men. This means that we should work with our best efforts. And this is something that many people struggle to do just because you don't actually know how to sit down and work in the right way so that you can like achieve your potential. So I've written down 4 productivity tactics that genuinely changed my life, and I hope that they do the same for you. The first one is intermittent fasting. You probably heard of that before, but you've probably heard of it in like fitness. Intermittent fasting is basically where you wake up and you don't eat for a good few hours of the day, and instead you stay fasted. You don't eat anything, you just drink some like water. Why this is a productivity tactic is because when your body's digesting food, you're literally just not as smart or as capable in terms of your work, in terms of school, in terms of homework, as you normally would be if you are fasted. I heard a statistics once that I think about 60% of like your body's power is used to digest food. And when you think about it, imagine like the caveman times. Imagine how crazy it would be to think of like a caveman in our little tribe eating a big meal and then coming out on the hunt with us. If me and you were going to go hunting, you'd probably hope that I was hungry, wouldn't you? Think about it. You'd want me to be hungry, wouldn't you? I'd hope that you were hungry, right? Because then we'll be hungry. We'll go for the kill better, right? We'd be better at hunting. But these days, our hunt is like our intellectual work, like the homework. But everyone's doing that, not when they're hungry, but rather when they're full. And then they're trying to figure out like why their brain's not working, why they feel so slow. For me personally, bro, if I eat before I try and work, it feels like my brain just works like 50% as well as it should do. And so I never eat around the time that I'm working. I wake up and I don't eat anything for hours. I do this hard work first thing in the morning, and then once the work's done, that's when I eat. So you could try this. Maybe tomorrow you could wake up a little bit earlier, get like some of the most important work done, and make sure that you stay fasted. Even if you feel hungry, that's actually a good thing, so that this way all your focus is on the work. Another productivity tactic that I've used, which has really helped me as a businessman, but I wish I knew this when I was in high school, is batching. So batching is where you do a bunch of the task together instead of doing it separately. So for example, I upload a video to YouTube every day, don't I? But I don't record a video every day. I sit down and record the entire week's worth of videos, 7 videos, in one sitting. Why do you think I do that? Because it's quite hard, on the day where I have to record. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not easy. Just before I sat down to record this, I was actually thinking like, oh, maybe I'll just record tomorrow. And I was like, no, come on, be disciplined. You said you'd do it today, so let's do it today. You know why I batch all these videos is because it takes like 15-20 minutes to get into the flow of things anyway. I've got to set up the camera, the lighting, get the uniform on, and it's the exact same with schoolwork. It takes like a few minutes, 10-20 minutes for you to sit down and really get into the flow of things. The issue is too many guys will try and like just do like 10-20 minutes, 1 hour of their sort of homework or schoolwork per day, and then they end up struggling and taking a bunch of days off, and they feel behind. What I think is a better technique is you go and spend like multiple hours, like 3 hours in the library, maybe 1 or 2 times a week. You schedule it in and you say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna smash out like as much as possible. You could go to the library on like Monday straight after school for like 2-3 hours before you go to the gym at like nighttime. And you could literally do like the entire weeks of work and studying all in that time. And this just saves you that extra sort of setup time. So it's a lot more efficient. Along with this, one of the things I found is most important is the environment. Before I moved back here, like this is my parents' home, or this is the home that I grew up in. Before I moved back here from university, I was living in this apartment with my girlfriend, and like the girlfriend that I had back then. And that was like not a good environment to work. I just couldn't be productive. I was always like, taking drugs. I was always eating junk food, and I was doing all these bad habits. And the day that I moved back in home, I've been super productive ever since, and I've become very successful in only a few years because this is a really good environment to work. It's like, my family live here. So straight away, it's like, I'm not going to take drugs. I'm here to work. So I'm not going to eat like loads of sugar or anything. And so it's like, the environment is conducive to the goals that I've got. For you, maybe your home isn't actually conducive to studying and to doing homework. Maybe it's like very distracting. Maybe your parents is sometimes kind of annoying. And so maybe once or twice, along with that batching idea, you go to the library or you go somewhere else that you can just go and do the work there. Remember that as a man, you have to take responsibility for what's happening in life. And so it's so easy for you right now to blame others and to say, oh, but I can't work at home because of this. No. As men, we take responsibility, and we don't speak in this attitude of like, negativity and sadness, like, oh, I can't study at home, I can't study, in my room. We say it with this positive sort of optimism of like, okay, I'm going to figure out where I can study. And probably the hardest tactic to implement for so many guys your age of, being in high school, no distractions. When you're going to sit down to try and do this work, you don't have anything that could distract you there. The biggest thing is your phone. Be honest. Do you still have notifications enabled on your phone? I can predict how good your life is going to be a few years from now on how you answer that question, and it's brutal. I can guarantee that you will be more of like a subhuman Jeffrey, and you'll hate your life if you've got all these notifications popping up on your phone, making the noises, showing up in the notification center and everything. There's a select few amount of guys who are watching this with almost like this grin on their face because they know what I'm on about, and they've all got their notifications disabled. You go on your phone, you go onto like the settings and just search notifications and turn them all off. Then put your phone on silent, then put your phone on do not disturb mode, and then put your phone on airplane mode as well. Take this extra level, and you will just, if you can trust me on this, it's such a good thing for your performance and for your productivity. If you just do that today, the work that you will do over the next few months will skyrocket because you're no longer losing that flow, like that pace of work when there's a random like little iPhone noise or something that's going on. The amount of guys who are really trying to do work but constantly getting distracted on their phone is so bad. And in fact, another good thing that you could do is actually just get your phone and put it in a completely different room. You've heard that advice before, but you might not have like ever done it. And if you've ever tried it once, you know that it really works. You know, there was a study that I remember reading that just having your phone on you, even if you're not even touching it, decreases your like mental cognition. Just having your phone like in your backpack. It was even worse if you had your phone in sight, like on the table. Even if there was no notifications, even if there was like literally no messages, you weren't even checking a message or anything like that, it literally just made you more distracted. So the greatest thing of like the study I remember reading was like there was 3 variables. You've got your phone on the table on one of them, you've got your phone inside of a backpack, or you've got your phone in a completely different room. And you saw like this linear sort of like this correlation between your sort of memory and cognition and, you know, basically your brain working well. It's crazy how much this little thing makes a difference. So when I'm working, I grab my phone and I usually put it underneath like my bed sheet, like, you know, the sort of bed cover there. I put it underneath that so it's not in like my mind or anything like that. Here's your actionable step for this video. Choose one of the 4 hacks that I've just discussed with you and vow to make it happen tomorrow. If you just spend like 10 seconds of you imagining that you're going to use it tomorrow, you'll be much more likely to do it. Click and watch this video right now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.